This lovely soccer mom wants to take her 3 kids on a short half-mile hike to a waterfall, and there she sees Daniel in his tidy whities saying, "Bears, man." Like these poor small children who are just like, "Mommy, we want to see the waterfall." Like, scar them for life.
Dude, I'm envious that you're going to a Ren fair.
Oh, you're into Renaissance fairs?
Dude, they're so rad.
Oh my god,
I
people
love
abbreviate
them.
that too? There's so many abbreviations I'm learning today.
OMG, LOL, LMFAO.
I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest one. I think I'm the one who's supposed to be teaching
Megan.
you guys this stuff.
Daniel and Reptar
You
are
older
totes into the whole abreves thing.
Reptar, are you older than me?
Probably.
How long ago was high school for you?
I'm scared to say. I'm so old
You're
now.
probably older than
Oh,
me.
shut up.
So I think I'm supposed to be teaching you guys abbreviations, and yet I don't understand any of these.
You live in Maine.
Hey, Daniel.
Do with my understanding of abbreviations.
Hey,
Yes, Gary.
Daniel, are you currently tying fishing flies?
Maybe.
Oh, or thought maybe you're practicing close-up magic.
I'm peeling a sweet potato, actually. Can you hear that? You can hear me peeling sweet potatoes?
My real guess was going to be that you were shuffling a deck of cards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I need to work on my linking rings. I haven't worked on that yet. I bought some linking rings the other day. I want to work on that. I've been mostly playing my bass guitar.
So
and keyboard.
The linking rings. I guess what you're saying, you're telling us is that you don't just actually use regular metal rings for that trick. They're special rings. Have you said too much?
A magician never reveals secrets.
I got you. Other than that, he's actually peeling potatoes while.
Hey, I would rather have him peeling potatoes than deep throating his microphone.
Oh, those were the days.
All right. Well, we haven't started yet, so, it's cool, right?
I kind of feel like maybe we have, but we just don't realize it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Isn't the rule that we're always recording?
The rule is that we're always recording, and
I think that's the rule.
Speaking of which,
Right, though.
Now recording.
Oh, boy.
Oh, fudge. We didn't get that.
we
earlier bit?
did. No, we definitely
Mother
did.
trucker.
No, we definitely did. We record with triple redundancy now because of that one time that we lost an entire show. So Craig records off-site. This is the really interesting behind the scenes stuff that everybody wants to know. Like, for example, what Daniel's having for dinner. We'll get back to that later. Every voice channel gets its own separate recording. So we have audio track that's just me. We have an audio track that's just Voldemort. We have an audio track that is just Daniel chopping ingredients. So
does this bother you?
in the final,
I can mute my microphone.
No, actually,
Daniel. Hearing the sound of a guillotine in the background repeatedly doesn't bother anyone.
Yeah.
OMG.
So that's one. Okay. So I think it's actually kind of fitting to have somebody chopping ingredients while we describe how the sausage is made, so to speak.
What is this? This American Life now? We're on NPR. Stories from the Trail, NPR edition.
Yeah, I have some sound effects to play for us later.
Like the fart that y'all got to kick out of the...
real sound effects. So the second thing is I'm actually recording on my laptop, the one that's running Discord. Plus we have everything running into an actual mixer device with its own dials and knobs and fiddly bits. So we're getting
so fancy.
Yeah, so we're getting recorded on three separate devices simultaneously, so that pretty much unless lightning strikes the blanket fort, we have.
Sorry. Okay, I am totally gonna.
Daniel's just making a bomb over there now.
Cut the blue wire, rookie. Cut the blue wire.
Hey, Gary, you never ran that idea across by.
No, and we can't talk about that either because he's on the line right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Daniel came. Well, we can't say anything. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What can't you say anything about?
Well, if I tell you, I would be saying something about it. So.
I'll tell you.
You can't even give me the topic?
I guess it's a
intros.
Yeah, but it involves we
people.
Yeah, people who are on the line right now, probably not paying attention anyway. So
probably not.
No, I guess not. Okay.
Let's see.
All right, so
I can't tell if y'all are amused or you're subtly telling me to quit fucking around.
Well, no, I mean it's interesting up to a point, but at some point,
I mean,
at some point you do have to hit the mute button.
Okay.
Here's my only real ask is that as long as it's entertaining, that's fine. But if it comes time for you to go to the bathroom, you've got to leave your phone in the kitchen.
No, you know what's funny about that? I started a regimen of Metamucil 3 times a day, so I am good to go in that department.
Interesting.
Should we switch over to the poop channel? Should we switch over to the poop channel?
Yeah, I suppose we could actually use that as a segue into one of our topics that we have this evening. But I suppose that we should probably try to pretend that we actually have a podcast here and start with like an intro and try to say like who we are and what the hell we're doing tonight. Welcome to. Hey, this would be our food episode. Would be great to have all these sound effects in the background.
Oh yeah.
So maybe I'll keep that.
I could boil some water.
Yep. So here let's do this. Hello, hikers. Green Giant here, one of your hosts. Welcome to another exciting episode of Stories from the Trail. We have something a little unusual planned for you tonight. I like to say that we don't always have a guest, but we always hang out. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're on Discord. It's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern is when we do this. If you're interested in joining us for one of those hiker hangouts, there's a link in the show notes. So if you're listening to this podcast on a phone, you're probably holding the device in your hand that you need to listen live. Everything you need is right there. Just scroll down, find the thing that says Discord, click it, boop, and you can be part of the show too. I'm here with someone we haven't had on the air really for quite a while. Actually, no, that's not true. Voldemort was on last week.
A lie.
But it seems like it's been a while before that. You had a long break, and we're glad to have you back. Hi.
I had a couple weeks. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, don't be sorry.
I was working.
But you were doing fun things, though. You weren't actually chopping up bodies, were you? You were just looking at them.
Chopping. No, I got to poke some dead bodies.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a cadaver lab, so that was fun.
Anything memorable or interesting happen? I hear that dead bodies are very full of gas and they'll bloat and sometimes fart.
We don't have whole bodies for these. We do labs that are focused on certain areas, so we'll have like a bunch of legs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Daniel.
I know I have something to say about this. It's funny. I have something to say about this. It's funny. I was listening to this podcast
about
the other day.
cadavers.
Yes. There's this guy who did all these experiments with electricity and cadavers, like they were using executed felons, and he would test to see, their mouths open and close and like their things moving. And like one of the people that was watching it, his daughter was Mary Shelley, and that's how she came out with the story of Frankenstein. So it was because of this scientist that was testing electricity on dead people. That was kind of interesting. That's how she came up with, Frankenstein. I don't know the guy's name.
Though.
Yeah. I have an opinion on everything.
Just so people know, we weren't testing. We weren't testing to see if the dead bodies would move.
They do with electricity. They'll that's interesting.
That's my field of study that I did my undergrad in.
Oh yeah?
Linked in there with the neuro stuff.
That other voice that you hear currently befuddling Voldemort is someone who hasn't been on the show in a while. Daniel, who.
Oh yeah, we're doing this now.
Yeah, we are. Hi, Daniel. It's nice.
We're recording for real now.
We really are. It's nice to do a thing with you, Daniel. We haven't done a thing together in a while.
Hi, everybody.
We haven't heard Daniel do some deep breathing into his microphone lately.
Daniel is preparing dinner for us while we hang out, and rounding up the lineup. Rounding up the lineup, as always, we've got our good friend Reptar with us. Reptar, how's it going, man?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing this fine evening?
Outstanding.
Sorry, I can't get over the sound effects coming.
Okay,
I can't get over it.
Yeah, we might need you to mute your mic for just a little bit there.
I will.
Good buddy.
He'd be a really good Foley artist.
It's true. Hey, I don't know if we want to start out with some Foley stuff. I did. Here, tell me if you guys can hear this. I went out right before the show, just to kind of like walk around in the yard, and the sun is still. It's what is it? The end of April now, so we've got sunlight until 8:30, and it's like 75 degrees outside. And I just walked outside, and it was so nice out there. I wanted to bring you guys with me, and the best I could do was my microphone. So I ran back inside. I got my microphone, and I recorded some of the outside sounds that we had going on here. Just the sound of the creek is really full because we've had a lot of rain lately, and all the birds were chirping, and like one of each kind of bird was out. We've got rufuses, or eastern towhees as they're actually known, tons of cardinals. The chickadees are buzzing the feeder like crazy. I got buzzed by a hummingbird the other day. We've got wood thrushes. It just sounded, it was kind of like a jungle out there, and I just wanted you guys to hear it.
Things are green down your way?
Almost. So down here in the valley where we live, I think we're right at about 3,000 feet where our place is. And we've got full on green right now. I can no longer see, here's a good problem to have, I guess. First world problems. I can no longer see the Blue Ridge Parkway from my office window because the cherry tree right outside it has already flowered and turned into like full green leaves. So the yard is
an awful problem to have.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, my view is gone. Because I have to look at flowers. Boo-hoo.
Oh, the flowers are obstructing my view of a road.
Stupid of a road. Exactly. Who wants to see that? But at the higher elevations, so like up on that road, which is like around 4,000, even 4,500 feet, it's still brown. So this is the week that we're watching everything sort of climb up the side of the hill, and it's been really pleasant. How many?
Want to send that up this way?
How many feet of snow did you get this morning?
We are done with snow, which is great.
Oh, okay.
But it's not completely melted. I mean, at my place it is, but about an hour north where my folks live, there is still snow.
That sucks. I mean, unless you're in
it's like dead and dreary. Like,
yeah.
We're at that point where it's just dull. Everything's dull. A lot of the grass is dead. Have time to clean up their leaves in the fall of last year because we got snow really early. So a lot of places where the snow is melting, there's just a ton of leaves. So it kind of almost looks like the end of fall.
That actually sounds really nice.
Even though it's the big. I mean, if you're into rain and gloomy days, then yeah.
If you're into the polar ice caps not melting as much, some rain and snow this time of year is kind of nice. Well, way to make it even gloomier than it already was, Gary.
Wow. Wow.
Hey, you know what I miss? The sound of vegetables being chopped while we talk. So, all right.
And in the chat said, rain and gloom is my jam. You should come to the Northeast. And just feel free to ignore Daniel. Shopping.
Well, hey, you brought it up. I can do this.
That's pretty funny.
I gotta say, man, I really do like hiking in like gloomy weather.
Well,
like misty forests. That's like
So
my
misty
jam.
forest is like is good hiking weather. It's not great when you're like stuck in a car or at work all day long, but in getting outdoors though, that is really nice. I went for a hike not last weekend but the weekend before, and it was relatively misty, like and foggy in the forest, and that was really really pretty. There was still some ice up on the mountains, but it was serene in that way.
Whimsical.
You go.
So I'm glad that we actually turned towards weather, because we do have a loosely organized show this evening, and weather is one of the first things I wanted to talk about. What we're doing this evening is, instead of hanging out with a guest, we're just hanging out with each other, and we're going to use this time to answer some questions that we've received either through email or on Discord or various other means that listeners and some other people have sent in. So, and weather was actually one of them, which is, circles back to, why I just said I'm glad that we started talking about weather, especially crappy weather, because one of the things that multiple people have asked to hear about, is, we get a lot of stories from our guests, and it's been a while since we've told some of our stories. I know I tell my stories all the time, but I want to hear, mostly yours, and I'll chime in from time to time. But, what one of our listeners, I just compiled a list. I don't have all these names. So I apologize for not saying who asked which question. But one of the first questions on the list is people want to hear about some of our shitty weather hiking experiences. And that can be, whether it's something as simple as, like, oh, I didn't get the view I wanted, or as extreme as I seriously thought I was going to die because of the conditions. So I don't know if you guys want to take a minute to think about it, or if you already have one on deck and you just want to jump right into it. But and I'm sure some of our millions of listeners would love to hear about
Millions and millions.
Yeah.
I got a couple right off the top of my head.
Go for it.
Shitty weather-wise. So on the PCT, we were setting ourselves up to hike over Goat Rocks, which, for those that don't know, Goat Rocks is amazing. It's pretty, it's totally exposed ridge line, and it goes on for a few miles. And the night before we got there, we hit a road crossing. I forget what it was called. I think it's like White Pass or something like that. And there was a trail angel in town that came and greeted us and was like, hey, there's a storm coming. Don't hike across Goat Rocks. Like, don't do it. I will take you to the bus station right now. You can go to the airport and fly home. And we're all like, what? Like, we knew there was a storm coming, but the level of, I don't know, just the fear factor that she was inducing in us, we all just kind of looked at each other like, all right, well, we better get going before the storm hits. So what ended up happening was we hiked about, I don't know, 3 to 5 miles, I'd say, out of town, and then ended up setting up camp. And we woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning because the storm was supposed to hit, I think, around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And so we get to basically near the summit of where Goat Rocks is, and you can just see this like wall of clouds heading our way. And we're like, oh crap,
shit.
Like, we got to get over this ridge, like, and down the other side ASAP. And so we just go for it. And there's like a little bit of sideways freezing rain. And there was patches of snow up there, and it was kind of sketchy because it was just really windy and not the place you want to be when a storm is about to hit. But all said and done, we made it to the other side. We all hugged it out because we were just so glad to be alive after the fact, and ended up getting down to a better elevation when the storm finally came and hit and dumped tons of rain on us. And we found out that I think it was the next day or the day after that, they actually had to rescue 2 people off of Goat Rocks because they tried to go into the storm and ended up getting stuck. So that was a pretty gnarly weather story.
Wow. Yeah, and because they didn't heed the warning that you guys heard back, when you started. They said don't hike up Goat Rock.
I don't think they were through hikers. Like because we ran into this couple of guys that were hiking the other way, and we were like, "Hey, look, it's pretty damn gnarly up there. Like there is a storm coming. I would not go up there right now if I were you. Like I'd take a day or wait it out, whatever, and then go." And I don't know if it was the same guys, but it could have very well been. But yeah, the next little gravel road we got to, there was another trail angel there, and he told us about it, which was, it's always kind of crazy to hear those kind of stories when it's like somebody had to be rescued the day after you went somewhere,
like
or
a
the
near
day
miss.
before. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, man, it could be pretty gnarly out there.
At least that was a bad weather story and not a I thought I was going to die story.
Well, I got one of those too.
Go for it.
Oh, I thought I was going to die story. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So there was more so. Okay. I kind of have 2, but the first one was, as long as I had kept going, I probably wasn't going to die hypothermia kind of situation. But what ended up happening was we were on Mount Washington, and if you check out, or if you've seen my documentary, or I think I have like a short little clip of it on my YouTube channel, that you can see how gnarly the weather is up there when we were there. And it was like just below gale force winds. It was about, I don't know, 35 degrees or something like that. And it was just insane. But we ended up making it to one of the huts up there, and they almost turned us away from the hut. And we were like, please let us stay here. Like, please. and lenient enough to let us stay. But however, there was a group of, I guess, like weekend hikers or day hikers or something that had a dog with them.
Oh,
and
no.
If you didn't know, I mean, dogs aren't allowed in the huts.
Right.
So they were like, nah, you guys got to leave, and made them go back out into it and like go down the mountain, like, which, I mean, I felt so bad for those people that day. But the time that I actually did start to feel hypothermia, I was in the 100-mile wilderness, and I think we had planned on going something like, it was only like 13 or 15 miles that day. It wasn't like a huge day, but the weather was just so cold and so crappy. And like the night before, I think we did like 22 miles or something. So we were just like, all right, let's just take it easy today. And we get about 7 miles in, I think, and I am just soaked head to toe. It is like freezing. You can see your breath, and all my clothes are just completely drenched all the way through. And so I finally get to a shelter, and I'm like, thank God. Like, I am totally going to stay in the shelter. So I walk around to the shelter, and what do I see? But the entire shelter packed full of people lined up in their sleeping bags, taking a trail zero.
Oh man!
Shelter zero.
Because yeah, shelter zero because the weather is just that bad. And I'm like, oh my God. All right. Well, I gotta like
cozy up.
I gotta yeah. Well the thing was that it was me and somebody else. So there was definitely not room for two of us in there.
What do you do?
And I was like, all right, I was pretty good at making fire. Even in like terrible, terrible weather like that, I could still make fire. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to get a fire going just so I can warm myself up. But the problem was it was so late in the season that there was no like deadfall anywhere.
It's
there
all
was
been
no
picked.
wood to be burned anywhere. So by the time I had established that, now like I'm not moving as much and I can tell that my body is like slowly shutting down. So as fate would have it, there was no flat tent sites anywhere at this one particular shelter, which was also extremely rare. Um, and so I ended up finding like a flat spot near the privy. And I was like, you know what,
no.
screw it. Like this is all I got. So so I start setting up my tent. And as I was setting up my tent, I could feel my body shutting down on me. Like I knew that my body was starting to deteriorate.
What's that feel like?
Well, the thing is, it's like your mind is still working properly, right? So you realize you're like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to like get out of these wet clothes. I need to get my tent set up, blah, blah, blah. And so this process of setting up your tent that you do a million times all of a sudden became a very difficult task. And what ended up happening was I had gotten my tent, I'd say, about 2/3 of the way set up, basically, and just got inside of it as is and was like, as I was inside, like just stripping off my clothes. And I keep one dry bag specifically for warm, dry clothes in the event that something like that happens. So I basically got naked, put on warm clothes, and then once I started warming up, like I was able to, clip things where they needed to be clipped. So the tent was actually standing on its own at that point.
Do you feel like you were losing the ability to continue setting it up physically or mentally? Like were you getting confused or having dexterity issues?
Well, it was more of a dexterity issue because mentally you do it all the time. So you know what needs to be done. And so I'm sitting there like, okay, I need to hook this to this part. But as I was trying to do it, my body like wasn't letting me do it.
Okay.
It was kind of terrifying because it's like, holy crap, I'm like getting hypothermia right now. And I was very aware of it, But yeah, that was my I almost thought I was gonna die story. But that being said, worst case scenario, I would have just like hobbled over to the shelter and been like, okay, guys, it's time to have like a snuggle-thon, pile on, And so like while I wasn't actually close to dying, that was definitely I would say closest I've felt to dying on trail.
Okay, that's uncomfortably close, in my opinion,
because of bad weather. How important to you? I mean, I think Gary and I both, I think a lot of people know the answer to this, but how important was it for you to have dry clothes in that situation? In a dry bag?
That was paramount. And that wasn't the only time that I was happy to just have dry clothing. There had been a few other times where, it rains a lot on trail. And especially like in the beginning, if you start early or if you get to Maine late, it gets really, really cold. So to have dry, warm clothes was crucial at certain times, at least in my opinion. I know that there's some people out there that like are straight troopers and just rock their running shorts all the time. But yeah, it was really nice the few times that I needed it to have dry clothes, warm clothes at that.
The other thing I want to point out from your story that other people might have not I don't know, kind of didn't really think about too much is that you said when you got in your tent, clothes that you were wearing. So you took off all the wet clothes. You didn't just pile things on your body.
No. I got totally naked and tried to like dry myself as best as I could before putting on the other clothes.
I'm not sure if people actually are aware of that. Like that's a really huge thing when it comes to trying to stay warm, especially after one of those really awful, damp, wet, cold, like borderline hypothermia. It's important to take off the wet clothes so that you stop getting more cold.
Yeah, definitely.
Your dry clothes on top of your wet clothes just for layers. It's important to make sure that you get rid of that stuff.
That's definitely not the way to go about doing it. Like, yeah, and the other thing is, keeping your sleeping bag dry. It's not always doable depending on how your shelter situation is set up. Like if you're just using a tarp, I get it that sometimes you'll get some splashback or whatever if it's raining. But yeah, trying to keep your sleeping bag dry is definitely.
Well,
how about you, Megan? What's your crazy weather stories?
It's a hypothermia. I mean, I've been borderline hypothermia before. Hiking. It was in a different situation. But excuse me. I think it's important to note for anybody who doesn't, just because, I'm all about safety. I like the safety tips. It's important with hypothermia if you think someone else is getting close to hypothermic and the shivering stops, but you're not warming up for whatever reason, like nothing's changed to make you warmer, but shivering stops. That's like your line of where that's like where you need to start paying attention and like maybe don't panic.
Hypothermia story out there on the trail.
What you got, Larry?
Larry.
Well, heck, it was like January 2001, and I hiked into Over Mountain Shelter. I mean, it had been raining, and then the temperature dropped, and it was snowing and sleeting and icing and stuff. I get into Over Mountain Shelter. It's a Saturday, and there's a whole entire Boy Scout troop in there. And anyway, so I looked around, and of course, I can't find any place in there or outside that's, it's just like winds blowing and stuff. And so I looked down below, and there was a clump of trees down there, and the Forest Service, our service road right down there. So I went down there, I got out of the wind of those clump of trees, and I had probably the best one-man tent I ever had was a Coleman Peak One single one-man tent. And anyway, I got that thing was easy to set up any place. And I got it set up on some rocks, but I couldn't really anchor it down, so I took some rocks and just kind of anchored it down. And anyway, I got into my sleeping bag. I got food going and everything, got eaten up and everything, got comfortable in my sleeping bag, and was reading on a book. And the temperature was steadily dropping. And anyway, so all at once this Boy Scout troop shows up down there at the clump of trees, and they decide they're going to camp out with me down there. And they want to take it, and yeah, seriously, they want to get in out of the way. And that damn Over Mountain Shelter was just draftier than the snot, they said. So anyway, they get down there, and then they decided they wanted to get a campfire, and they asked me to help them get a campfire going. I said, I'm not coming out of my sleeping bag, man. It's cold out there, and stuff.
Weren't they the Boy Scouts though? Isn't that like
Boy Scouts? I said, merit badges? I said, you guys figured it out. That's what you got Scoutmasters for. Come on, man, and stuff. And so anyway, And man, and I'm listening to these kids fumble out there, and they're getting mad. The scoutmasters are getting mad, and finally they said, "Larry, come on, would you help us?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." So I came on out of my bag, and I had that fire going in about 15, 20 minutes, and I got back in my bag. Well, I forgot to put my damn boots back down into my bag with me. I usually, my hiking boots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll leave them out, and the next morning, in the middle of the night, I got a pee bottle. I pissed off and on all night long in the pee bottle. Well, I got to take a shit like clockwork at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I got to go. And I get up and I'm like, holy shit, here's my boots. They're frozen solid, man.
Oh, no.
And so I put on another pair of socks because I'm about to crap, man. And I grabbed my toilet paper. I already marked me a pop the night before. And I went out there and I went ahead and took a shit in the woods there and covered that stuff up as good as I could. But, man, I was colder than snot. So I run back to my tent, and I grab my boots and I shove them down in the sleeping bag with me, thinking maybe an hour or so I'll get them thawed. Shit, no, 2 or 3 hours later, man, I could finally get them thawed, and the Boy Scout troop took off and left that damn fire going anyway. So that's like going again. I got my boots finally on, and I went to walking around in circles around that fire. Man, I was just cold from head to toe. And this trail maintainer came up the road, and he got out of his truck there and come walking. And he saw me walking around there around that fire, and he says, "Doesn't look like you're having a good day." I said, "I'm cold, man." I told him about what happened. He said, "Down there's my truck." He said, "The key's up under the wheel well. Just go on down there and jump in the truck until you warm up." And that's my weather story.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah.
Wait just a minute, Gary. You what? No, I'll take care of your laundry. That one girl wanted me to wait until she got done taking a shower. Okay, I'll get it. Okay.
Daniel's making dinner. Larry's doing laundry.
Yeah, I got to get some laundry done here in a minute. I just had 3 check in.
All right.
So
hey, that's
yeah. Well, one more weather story. Okay, Vanderbilt Shelter. That's on further up north there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I remember the name, but I don't remember the location. And
okay, so here I am, frozen boots one time, and then the next thing you know, I froze a solid bottle of water out there, man.
Just years later?
No, that was like same hike, same within the same time frame.
It wasn't your pee bottle, was it?
Huh?
It wasn't your pee bottle, was it, that got frozen?
No, hell no, it was my pee bottle, man. But I'll tell you, I was up there Vanderbilt and not AWOL's book, but Wingfoot's book said there's a water source down there from I've left one full 1.5 liter bottle out, and it got frozen solid. Instead of going back down and getting more water in the empty bottle, I decided to hike onto the 2 or 3 miles, down. Well, it just happened to warm up about 50, 60 degrees that day, and I started sweating. And anyway, so I get up there, the water source was dried up. So anyway, I hiked on, and I was getting thirsty. And all at once I started smelling water. And I went up in the middle of this rhododendron patch, and there was a big old seep bog right there. So I scooped leaves back and everything, and I stuck, and boy, did that shit stink. I mean, you can see where there had been deer in there and everything else,
No.
And so anyway, I scooped the water out and into my bottle, and I put the iodine to it, and I didn't wait 30 minutes or so to drink it. About 15 minutes into it, I slammed that stinking stuff, and I mean, I drank it, And anyway, I filled up another bottle, and I got on out of there, and I get down around the corner, and there's a darn creek right before Iron Mountain Shelter right there, And I just waited,
And that's the story, the origin story.
But, that's something, you don't, even in the wintertime, you got to keep your water in you too,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And you may have a day it warms up like that, or you may not, but either way, you need to keep water coming. I'm going to put you on mute, and I'm going to go in here and take care of this laundry and see who else is in.
All right. I love that Larry is like taking the time out from running his hostel to tell us stories about getting
right
about freezing to death while pooping. We got a double.
I think he brought up a good point about the water bottles freezing. I think that a lot of people forget that, when it's cold out, your water will freeze. So if you leave it out when it's super cold out, your water freezes. So sleep with it either in your sleeping bag or, at least in your tent to get some of the, radiant heat. And that goes for your water filter as well, because if a water filter freezes, it becomes useless. So just something to be mindful of.
Like the Sawyer filters.
Yeah,
will break. And that's because they're ceramic filters.
Yeah, the microscopic pores will expand with the ice. And when they're big and fat like that, creepy crawlies can get through.
Wait, what did I totally missed what you said about creepy crawlies?
Oh, I said, yeah, the ceramic filters have microscopic pores which allow the water to go through, but no bacteria. And when they expand as they freeze, the holes get bigger, which allow the creepy crawlies to get through.
Yes, the creepy crawl. Ugh. Oh, ugh. Ugh.
Hey, this next question on the list is actually kind of related to, I guess it could be weather related, but it could be for any reason. Have you ever had to, for whatever reason, cut a trip short? So
I refuse.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right, Megan, you refuse to cut a trip short? You've just never had...
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of hiccups during trips, but I... like a long distance trail? Can we assume that that's the implication? Like a long distance hike?
I guess it's really open
hike?
to your interpretation. I mean, yeah, it could be a day hike. I mean, maybe you're
I guess I've changed my plans on day hikes. Like I did a hike this winter and we did not get up to the summit that we wanted to get to. We got to a place where there was a view and we're like, hey, it's too cold. Let's not do this anymore. There's wind. It's like below zero with a wind chill. I'm leaving.
So you just kind of like lost all your motivation. You're just like mid hike. We're like, meh, cheeseburgers.
With Gut Hook and one of his friends, our friends, I guess. And we had planned on doing a relatively small summit compared to, I guess, what we have in Maine. Like it was a 2,000 feet, maybe 3. And we didn't make it up all the way. We only made it to like the first peak. It was more of like an overlook. Uh-huh. And it was so cold. Like I had brought apples and cucumbers for a snack with some dipping sauce and stuff and a wrap with veggies. And my vegetables were frozen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but my veggies and fruit were frozen. And they were sitting in my pack like as close to my body as possible. That was not fun to have frozen food when I wasn't planning on it. So and there was a lot of wind too, so the wind chill probably got it down like below zero, well below zero. At the base of the mountain in the morning when we started, it was I want to say like -5.
Cool.
So we were starting.
Oh
like,
no!
Whoa!
Base of the mountain at like -5, and then it slowly did start to warm up slightly to like into the single digits. But then once you got like anywhere where there was openness, the wind just really. So yeah, I turned around on that one. Okay. We called it an early day and then found some hot food, mozzarella sticks for me.
I like how okay. When we ask Megan for a story, and there's always a food element. Always.
Why wouldn't there be a food element?
I mean, right down to
my
like
food. If things aren't in line with my food, my hike is over. I am done.
I don't mean this as any kind of criticism. I like. You know how you go to the fair and there's always that guy who draws caricatures of people and he gives this guy a big chin and like, oh, that guy's got big ears. Like I notice things about people and then kind of kind of exaggerate them, and I don't mean to do it in a mean way, but I just think it's interesting that the stories that we just heard went from both weather related, went from Reptar's "we almost died" and like people had to get rescued, and Megan was like, "My vegetables froze."
To me, that's a bad day.
That is a bad day.
That's a bad day. When my apples are frozen and my cucumbers that's a bad day for me.
We were clinging by our fingernails to a rock on the edge of a cliff. We were being pelted with sleet. Meanwhile, we've got, my food was not at a temperature that I generally prefer.
Hey, I've been in some bad weather situations too, but remember them because I'm just too tough.
Oh, well, there we go.
I'll tell you what, Gary. I'll tell you something that I tell a lot of my hikers.
Yes, sir.
We've had a lot of rain through the mountains here and up and down the East Coast this year. And, the water, I was up in the mountains today, and the water's still pretty good up in there. And so what you got is for potential flash flooding long after storms and stuff have come through, because for instance, I was hiking in Vermont one time with a friend of mine. I was working at Mount Snow Ski Resort up there cooking. And so anyway, and in front of us was like a small flash flood. It just happened all of a sudden. And so we was telling a ranger about it later, and he was telling us that what happens when you have a lot of snow melt or a lot of heavy rains and stuff, there'd be dams of water, ponds and stuff built up, Mm-hmm. Sometimes it could be even from a beaver dam up above someplace, and it just gets built up bigger and bigger and bigger. He said, and eventually anything, a fly could land on that dam, and all at once it just gives way. He says, in the middle of summertime, without any rain or any other weather phenomena for a while, he says, and I thought about that, and I tell hikers about that. I said, you keep your eyes pointed down on your feet when you're hiking, but keep your eyes at horizon level, at your horizon, look eye level and look above, and just kind of get an idea about what's around you a little bit every now and then, and stuff. And, you might be able to pick up a danger that way. Because I'll tell you what, that scared the bejesus right out of me, man, when that happened.
Situational awareness.
Yeah. It took out a tree or two right there, and I thought, hell, if I'd have been standing right there, it'd been over with for me, or I'd have been injured,
Gary, remember that time when the Smokies turned into the trail and the Smokies turned into a river?
I sure do. That happened on multiple occasions. I saw.
That's what that reminded me of, Larry, was up in the Smokies.
You're.
I guess it's a deep trail. Would you call it a deep
trail? Coming north.
It's the same trail whether you go north or south.
Toward the north entrance of the park.
I think it's all of the Smokies. Most of the trail in the Smokies is like a foot or more deep.
Yeah, you're walking in a trench.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
And I remember going through several thunderstorms and rainstorms in the Smokies, and the trail turned into a river, and you had to just walk through it. Leave no trace. You're not supposed to climb up on the side. I learned that the hard way. I attempted at one spot because it looked so deep, I was worried about footing. I tried to get around it because I saw that other people had gone around this one spot. And I attempted to step up onto the side of the trail, and my foot slid, and my entire left side from foot to shoulder was all mud.
I'll tell you what.
But you were
coming off a Roan Mountain after a nice storm was a fun deal.
Yeah, that's the other place that I was going to mention that is notorious. You always see people posting pictures of it. Roan Mountain, which is not too far from where the story that Larry was talking about when he was talking about Over Mountain Shelter is near Roan Mountain, and that shelter is down in a notch that when the wind comes through there, man, it's like a whistle. It just gets channeled through there. So like I can just imagine how cold that day was. But coming up the south side of Roan Mountain is another place where the trail is notorious for being at least ankle or shin deep. Even when it's not raining, you're just walking in a U-shaped
I'll tell
trench.
you what, the south end of tee you off going up it though. You think you're gonna get to the top of that damn thing, and then
Yep.
you ain't at the top yet. I'll never forget getting madder than hell that day. I got mad. I was happy to get to that shelter though.
All right, so there. Do we still have Daniel on the line? Because I actually was chatting with Daniel via message a minute ago about a story that he wanted to share with us, and I want to make sure that he's still here.
Is that Daniel what?
He's going to come on and be kind of breathless. He's like, what? I'm here. Here's my name.
I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Funny. Y'all are funny. Y'all are hilarious.
Daniel's always worn out from pulling the microphone out of wherever he keeps it. Okay, guys. Shots fired.
You done? Are you done?
Yes.
I don't know. I got a good laugh out of that. Thank you, Daniel.
I guess.
You're welcome. All right, what's going on? We telling my story?
So we were talking about, so I know we have this list of questions that people have asked and kind of like loose ends that we've kind of left hanging on previous episodes of the show. And I think if I'm doing my math correctly, the story that we started the evening that we spoke with the hiking prodigy, this is the guy who did the calendar year triple, while we were waiting for him to join the call, you and I started talking about this hike that we went on recently on the Foothills Trail. And I forget exactly where we left off, but I think you were going to tell us about something that was memorable from that hike.
I think it was the second day. Let's see. So we were hiking, and I think let me get into a better spot. Hold on.
Let me say,
I was downstairs in the echo.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Take your time.
Okay. It was the second day.
We have to set the scene first. Okay, it was a dark and stormy night.
It was a beautiful spring day, and things were blooming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great time to hike. And you and Travis got ahead of me. And I was just bebopping along. I'm thinking to myself, this is so boring because I have ADD and walking doesn't just do it for me. And so I have to have something else. And I thought, I'm going to do something silly. So I take off my pants and put them in my bag.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Taking off pants means something silly.
Yeah, wait. So
Let's call that sexual harassment.
So you take your pants off,
right?
I think I can answer. I think I can answer one of the questions that you're about to ask, and Daniel left out a crucial. Okay, so when we
twig and berries are intact.
Hang on a second.
Hang on a second.
When we passed Daniel,
Berries?
He was just changing his shirt. Okay,
oh,
so
yeah.
It was early. It was mid-March, and it was one of those, weeks where it's like 35 in the morning, but it's like up to 85 by the afternoon. So you start out hiking bundled up, and so we had already seen each of the members of our hiking party stop at some point. Like, oh, Gary's taking off his jacket. There's Travis putting on, he has long johns on. We walk past Daniel. He's just taking off his shirt. So we think, oh, okay, he's just putting on short sleeves. He goes, don't wait for me. I'll catch up. Travis and I keep hiking.
Yep. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's important context.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. So we've already seen okay, we've all been taking off various articles of clothing so far.
Right.
Imagining walking upon Daniel, taking his pants off with absolutely no context whatsoever.
Only when it's funny. So I took my pants off and I put them in my bag and I went around a little bit. And so I start running at full speed and I run past them like, oh shit, guys, a bear just got my pants. We got to get out of here. And they're just like, what what the fuck? And then I'm like, hey, feels pretty good. And I could do this all day. And they're like, no, sorry. I like you and all, but so, just be silly,
Yeah.
Or pants on.
Yeah. But it felt good without my pants.
So Daniel, there are these things called shorts. They're like pants, but shorter.
I know. Well, eventually I
Around
did
in
that
your underwear.
Well, I had hiking pants on, so I could have made them shorts. But, I had tidy whities on, too, and it was awesome.
God.
Oh, my God. That makes
God.
it that much better. Oh, that makes it so much better.
I was picturing, some ex officio, hiking boxers,
Actually,
some high-tech stuff. I was not picturing tidy whities.
Well, okay,
Guys,
they were
guys.
Saks. The Saks underwear?
I wouldn't exactly say they were white.
Okay, tidy gray. Oh, wow.
Do you guys not separate your whites from your darks?
No, I don't. Most of the time.
That's why those. That's
I don't
why
know if
those
you
tidy whities are no
remember
longer white.
another crucial detail about this trip is that Daniel would not poop in a hole. So
Oh,
It's
so
not
he was
that.
pooping
Well,
in his
it's just
pants.
no.
Wait,
no,
what?
No, negative shipmate.
Oh.
These people didn't want to go 0.1 miles to an actual bathroom. Like, no, we're outdoorsmen. We're too good for that. And I
Off trail, like a 0.1 mile off trail to get to a privy.
Well, because there are certain spots on the trail where people could go on and walk to waterfalls and stuff. I'm like, there's a bathroom 0.2 miles away. I'm going.
The bathroom.
So,
did you go to the bathroom? You went there?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It felt great.
Okay.
Were you still sans pants?
No, they made me put them on. It was
yeah, we did eventually.
They made you put your pants on so that you didn't walk into an area where there might be other people wearing your tidy whities.
But how funny would that be? Hey, what's up, guys?
Again, Some people call that funny. Some people, strangers, might call that sexual harassment.
No.
They might call that a problem.
No, think about it. You come up to someone like, bears, man. They're crazy, all right? They took my pants.
I think sometimes
funny.
Daniel lives in an alternate universe where there's a film crew and a live studio audience and and permission.
Imagining a poor some person who's out for a quick day hike, this lovely soccer mom wants to take her 3 kids on a short half-mile hike to a waterfall, and there she sees Daniel in his tidy whities saying, "Bears, man," to these poor small children who are just like, "Mommy, we want to see the waterfall." Scar them for life.
It's just legs, and I know how to use them.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Again, if it's just legs, it brings you back to shorts.
Your trail name totally needs to be Captain Underpants.
Oh my god!
That's another reason.
That's it.
That's another reason. I was trying to do something like that to spark inspiration for someone to say something, but put them back on. Come on, man.
No,
we got 10 more miles to go. Well,
you also can't design a situation. Trail names are not a designed situation that you.
But it's just fun. I just
ahead.
have fun. It's just
I gotta say, Captain Underpants is a really great suggestion, and we tried to get Daniel a trail name last year, and I don't think it stuck. But I think Captain Underpants.
What did you try last year?
Well, remember he did the same thing when we were on a different section of the same trail.
I kept my clothes on that time.
He had his clothes on this time, but I actually have this one. I actually have this one recorded. I don't have it on this hard drive right now, but I was like. Again, I'm a half a mile. I have no idea how far ahead of Daniel I am because I passed him, and I'm recording something by this little stream talking about how water sources are these sources of tranquility, and he comes running by the British are coming. The British are coming. Ah!
Yes.
So we tried to trail name him Paul Revere, but it didn't stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Captain.
I just like being funny.
Though.
It's like when you're in college. Pranks and stuff, just trail pranks. Y'all don't do that?
No, we do. Do you know how many
prank.
times Gary put rocks in my pack?
See, that's hilarious.
Legitimate. I have photographic evidence. He put legitimate heavy rocks. I'm not talking like some small stones that are like the size of your fist. No. I mean like large rocks that you would use to make up a fire ring.
That is amazing.
Pack.
I believe at one point I said, "Lemmy, help me lift this rock."
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. So here I am, just innocent little me, like trying to get some water from the water source, and I come back and my pack is stuffed with rocks.
And we still couldn't keep up with her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Gary?
I said we still couldn't keep up with her.
Oh, thank you.
But
it's
just,
true.
It's fun. Just I like to do fun stuff. I like to. Oh, I know this isn't trail related, but you know how people wave to each other all the time? I dab at everyone. When I see now, I just dab.
You just dab at strangers?
Strangers. It blows them away. It blows them away. You should try it. Next time you see someone, just start dabbing.
You know what? I should do that while driving.
They won't know what to do.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a quick dab while passing someone while I'm driving.
Yes. It's the greatest thing in the world. It's so much fun.
Oh, my God.
They don't know what to say. My boss would come up to me and be like, "Hey, how long is it going to take you today?" I go, "Whoop, dab." It's like, "What was that?" I'm like, dabbing, whatever.
Just some casual dabs.
I got to bring it back. It's lost its luster.
Oh, man.
Okay, sorry. I know that wasn't trail related.
It could be. I mean, you could do that to someone on the trail and get...
Yeah.
That could be instead of like bumping fists, like hikers bump fists instead of like high fives because, germs.
Uh-huh. Dab.
Just dabbing.
Yeah, do that.
That's like very sanitary. You don't have to even touch the other person.
Bam.
Like a new thru hiker thing. Only thru hikers do it. It's like a...
Yeah. See?
The dabbing greet.
We were the dab greet.
So,
and you get to be instantly ostracized on the trail, not just back in town.
How to not make friends on the trail.
Oh, come on. I mean,
did you see that guy in underpants dabbing at everybody?
That would be epic. Oh my gosh.
It does keep things interesting, that's for sure.
Right?
Oh boy. Oh. So
guys, I lost a pair of underwear when I was hiking down south.
Hold on, wait. Start again?
We were talking about underwear.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that there's just like a random pair of my underwear hanging out on the trail, like down in North Carolina?
Still to this very day?
To this very day, there's a pair of underwear. The lesson is don't let your clothing dry on your pack when you don't have it properly secured.
Oh, okay.
People pay for that.
Yeah, actually, I do know that. They pay for it, I think, in their vending machines for that. I'm like,
in Japan.
There are many more profitable ways I could have gone if I were going to lose my underwear.
Mm-hmm.
There was a girl the year that I was hiking that was selling her underwear to fund her hike.
Nice.
Oh, I've heard it's a real thing. Didn't know someone on the trail could actually do that. So was she like mailing it? Like
Yeah, she's like posting it online, and like creepy dudes are like, "Yeah, I'll give you money for that."
So horrifying.
How much did it go for?
How much did she make?
I didn't
asking
get
for a
into
friend.
the details of it. When I heard about it, I was just like, "Oh, that is gross."
Wow, that's
like good for you to find something that's not a GoFundMe, but man, that's gnarly.
And what kind of a website would do such a thing for the show notes?
I have
asking for a friend.
I have no idea, and even if I did, that is not some information that I would give out to the general public to encourage.
Oh, yeah. If there was any
underwear stories of your own.
Who are you asking?
Someone else's underwear. Daniel's told his underwear story. I've got mine.
I don't know if I have any good underwear stories. I mean, mine are all pretty just straightforward, I just put on my little Under Armour briefs and just do it, I don't know. I don't have any crazy. I lost my underwear, or I was running down trail
like
in my
nearly
underwear.
lost your underwear, like misplaced it while you were in a shelter, nothing like that?
Nah, I kind of keep that close to me, you know?
You sound like you have your shit together.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Maybe when I go back out this year, I'll try to think of some creative way to come up with an underwear story.
I mean, hike your own hike and all, but if you could, incorporate underwear into some shenanigans, that would be totally cool for the show. Do that.
All right. How about this?
That would be great.
How about this? I promise I will capture a picture of hikers in their underwear. How about that?
On like
for
naked hiking day?
No,
Make
naked
sure you get
is
their permission
naked,
so we don't
man.
get like sued.
Oh yeah, no. This is totally, for those willing.
I was willing.
So, dudes.
Oh, yes, sir. Save us. Save us.
Yes.
Oh, did you have something or?
No, I was just saying it's going to be all dudes.
Oh, I thought you were trying to.
Oh, I thought you were saying like dude. And I'm like, okay, we're listening.
Yeah, I thought you were trying to do a reset there.
Take pictures of people in their underwear. So, guys.
Okay. So all right. So dudes, I have a question for you. And this is another, I guess this is kind of related, but, let's see. This is one of those questions where they ask like 3 questions in a row. So it's kind of all a bunch of related stuff. So do you prefer hiking alone or in a group? And do you have any good meetup stories? Because the person who sends in this question, says that she's currently on the fence about hiking with randos. And I guess what they're talking about here is like, you go to meetup.com and you can find other people in your area who are just interested in hiking. Like they're just interested in hiking, but you're hiking with strangers. Like you meet in a parking lot, there's a club or something, or have you guys ever done
hiking with
like
randos?
That?
Sometimes you end up like hanging out with them and then like really getting along well, and then like sometimes doing a podcast with them, and then like you visit them a lot and somehow spend time with each other, and then it's just kind of like weird because randos.
I've never had that happen to me. What's it like?
Isn't that the reason why people start the trail, like especially the AT, to meet people? It seems.
To know if people go in with that like being their goal.
So I guess maybe this question is, everything outside of a thru hike. Like, have you ever met up with a hiking club or like had somebody at work say,
specifically
hey,
mentioning
let's go
meetup?
Or doesn't have to be meetup specifically, but
my wife did that. She met up with a Georgia women's hiking group, and they went up to Helen and did a little hike together. So there's Facebook groups that you can join, and you kind of talk to each other online, and then schedule hikes and do that. Is
Deidre nearby?
Hold on, I can get her.
Is she chopping vegetables while you tell stories?
Chopping is.
Do you want to? Do you want to see if she wants to talk and tell a story? I know she's been on.
I think she's home.
On Skip's.
Oh, she's not home.
Before.
I thought she was home. She's not home yet. Sorry.
Okay. Can you do an impression?
Oh yeah. So we went hiking and a dog, and it was great. He was a good dog. Dogs were stupid. Was that good?
That was terrible.
That was. Yeah.
But I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the effort that went into it.
E for effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's Facebook pages all over the place. Women Who Hike, I think it was called. So
I've done one of those meetup type things where you strangers prior to going on a scheduled hike.
Hey, Megan, you're dropping out a little bit. Can you
Oh, son of a gun.
Put your face closer to the microphone?
Ooh.
Is this good? I'm eating my microphone.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Was that actually good?
Yeah, that actually sounds really good.
My lips were actually touching my microphone. That's how close it was. This was uncomfortable.
Okay. Maybe back off.
Now I know how Daniel feels.
Wow.
I know how Daniel's microphone feels.
No, I've never done one of those groups where you organize a hike and then go and hike with strangers. but I've met strangers along hikes and hiked with those randos.
Okay.
To be okay.
See, we're looking for more of like a story, you know.
You want an actual story of me hiking with randos? To answer the first part of that question, I don't typically hike in groups when I hike in the summertime.
Is it because you sweat?
Solo hiker. Is it because I sweat?
Yeah.
Disgusting human, and nobody wants to be around me. No, hiking is kind of like my alone zen time.
Yeah, you've said that before.
In the wintertime, I'll hike with groups, like mutual friend groups where I'm meeting some people for the first time because I bring in a friend and my friend brings in a bunch of friends. Like, we'll do that sort of thing. But that's kind of, I don't know, in the wintertime, it's more for safety.
Yeah. Okay.
As I'm not experienced in winter hiking enough to do it alone and feel super confident, either over or under prepared. So going with a group kind of provides like a blanket of security.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think I think hiking with one of those meetup groups is like a really, really great idea. If you're going out and just hiking with randos, I mean, like if I were to just go hike Mount Washington and then start hiking with the people I meet there, I feel like it would be a little less safe than hiking with people who you've talked with beforehand.
Okay, so safety is an issue in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Safety and like a comfort level, like priorities, because people have different priorities when you're hiking. And if you go on a hiking, like a website or a meetup or something like that, typically you have the same priorities. Whether you're out to do like a serious hike or you're a beginner hiker, like you tend to find people, hopefully, if you're chatting enough, you tend to find people who are kind of the same speed as you.
That makes sense.
Physical speed. I mean, like also like knowledge base. Like, I mean, maybe you want to go with someone more experienced or less experienced, but you'll know that going in.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know.
I kind of like, two parts of what you said.
But the rest of it was horseshit.
No, like for me, I like to hike solo during the day. Like as long as I'm hiking, unless it's at night or in really crappy weather or there's like a gnarly stream crossing coming up, I typically hike solo. But when it comes to camping, I like to have other people around just because of what you kind of said, the safety in numbers kind of thing. Like if you've got a bunch of people, bears aren't going to mess with you as much if you've got a bunch of people making noise versus just you. Or
I didn't even consider camping.
Or
camping's always good with more people.
Or, random trail creepers buying hiker underpants.
There are those people too.
Or just offering, at least,
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever offered to buy my underpants before.
Ooh,
One's
Deidre's
from a
home.
picture?
Oh, hi. Well, you give her some time to.
Oh, she's fine.
Bit.
She's fine.
Don't just like.
Hey, they want to hear about your.
Stick a microphone in her face as soon as she walks in the door.
Shove a
Welcome home, honey. Get on the
Welcome
podcast.
home. Talk.
Okay, hello.
Oh, hi, Deidre.
Deidre.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You're talking to everybody. Everybody, this is Deidre.
Okay, hello.
Hi, Deidre.
I'm a little ambushed right now, but okay.
Yeah, we told them to give you
Yeah.
time to come in and pet the cats and relax and maybe
No, that's Daniel.
take off one of your shoes. But nope, here we go. Did he even tell you what we wanted to what we were talking about?
No, he just said they want to hear about your girls who hike thing.
Oh yeah. The question came up about hiking with like meetup groups or like meeting somebody on a Facebook group or just some hiking with randos is how it was phrased. And Daniel mentioned that you had a real experience with that.
Yes, I actually do. It wasn't completely randos. There was a girl that I went to high school with that's part of this group, but I haven't seen her in years. And I just happened to see that she was a member of this group. And it's just like the Georgia chapter of a national group called Girls Who Hike. And it's basically just for girls who like to get out there and hike, and they do official hikes, which what I did was an official hike. So one of their sponsors or whatever they call them will set up, okay, here's a time, here's a date. They'll create tickets. You have to like buy a ticket because they want to adhere to, leave no trace and
group
not
size maximum.
Yeah, they don't really want to, damage the trails we're going on. So they keep it. I think they try to keep it limited to about, depending on what type of trek they're going to do. They try to keep it to probably about 10 to 30 people. The group
okay.
I was in was there were probably about 18 of us, maybe like 13, 15. And then they'll also do basically just create a page so you can go on and say, hey, I'm thinking about going and hiking this weekend. I don't want to be by myself. Okay, Fitz is very excited. I'm home.
Hello.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you can go on and just say, hey, I want to go hiking this weekend. I'm looking at going to this area. And is there anybody that lives around there that would like to meet up with me? Or do you have any advice on it? And it actually went really well. I was a little nervous about it because, you're going to meeting strangers that you're like, who knows? Do I actually have anything in common with them? Do I, but it actually turned out really well. Everybody, at least in this one particular group, was super nice.
Good.
And they also will do like co-ed hikes so that you can take your significant other. And they, at least the one that I went on, they're very upfront about, here's the difficulty of the trail. They're welcoming to all levels, beginner to as experienced as you can possibly be. And they'll say, hey, this is a moderate trail. Let's go on this. Or this is, maybe geared towards beginners. So let's get a lot of beginners out. Or this is going to be a hard one. So if you don't really know what you're doing, probably don't want to come on this. And a lot of the girls seemed like they actually, kind of have formed friendships. They'll get together outside of it. So my experience thus far has been positive with it.
You've gone a couple times?
I've only gotten to go on one so far. But I'm looking at some of the future ones that they have. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go on the last one that they did.
Say the name of the group one more time.
The one that I did is called Girls Who Hike is the group. And then I think each state has chapters. So I went with the Girls Who Hike Georgia group.
Okay. That was going to be my next question, whether it was regional or other places.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's national, but splits up into regional. So
excellent. Okay.
Yep.
That's
all right.
awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, I got to say, it's
You're
interesting to see Daniel's face light up with his weird mustache and hear your lovely voice come out instead.
It is a little weird.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll try to talk like him. Does that work a little better?
Oh, actually, so yeah, he did. So before you got home, he tried to trick us and did his best Deidre impression, and he had us going for about 30 seconds or so. But it was actually Reptar noticed something was up. Yeah, give us your best Daniel.
Hold on. Hey, okay, I want to go do this. Do you want to do this? I want to do this. Hold on, wait. No, wait. I don't want to stay at home. Why do you want to stay at home? Let's go somewhere. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Perfect.
Can you possibly chop up some vegetables while you do that?
Please. Maybe hit a few buttons on your oven.
Oh, boy.
Hey, look, he's making dinner tonight, okay? So I'm not going to complain about anything. I'm not going to get onto him for any of that.
Oh, it's all in good fun.
No, it's all good. He was supposed to make dinner last night, and I ended up making it. So, I got to hold him to it. So,
yes.
Cool. Well, have fun. Thanks,
All right.
Deidre.
Well, I will pass him on back over. So
Okay,
it was
thanks.
nice to meet everyone. Bye.
Yeah,
Nice
thanks for
chatting with you,
stopping by.
She's fun.
Yeah, that was really good perspective. I've never done one of those groups, and it's nice to be able to hear from someone who actually has done one of those, especially for this question.
Yeah, and she had a better experience than I've only gone on one, and it was through Meetup. And I think this was right after we got back from the AT, so like my feet were still sore, but I had that craving to hike and be social, so I answered the call on a Meetup thing and drove and met a group like at 8:00 in the morning on a Thursday. And it was interesting because the people who hike at 8:00 in the morning on a Thursday are all retirees. So, I'm in my mid 40s and I was the youngest person there. So I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And these guys guys and gals just hauled ass. And I had a hard time keeping up with them. I'm blaming my feet. But it also, it kind of seemed like, and I know not all groups are like this. Obviously, Deidre described a very different experience, but it seemed to be like these people who were in this group all knew each other and had, been friends for years. Mm-hmm. And I really kind of felt like I was outside the group. And I know this varies from group to group. And maybe it's a factor of I had just come off the trail where you form these incredibly tight bonds with strangers, and it just wasn't getting it from this particular hiking group. And I didn't really try again. And I wonder, if I did, maybe I would probably have a different experience. But, yeah, that was pretty much the only time I guess you can't really say I tried. I tried once. I don't know.
I've tried.
Yeah, it just wasn't my bag. I'm more into meeting people organically, like Reptar, like you were describing earlier. Like you meet people, you're just on the same journey. You just kind of become friends that way.
That sounds so nice, meeting people organically.
Yeah, as opposed to
who has time for that?
Manufactured, arranged, meet up, bleep blorp, bleep blorp.
I hunt
Will
down
you be
my
my hiking buddy?
So,
excuse me. What?
I hunt down my friends. Hey, I'm only partially lying about that.
Okay.
I made Gut Hook my friend. I hunted him down.
Oh, how's that?
I made him my friend.
Having a friend. How's that going?
It's great to have at least one friend
Yeah.
in the area. In fact, I've met friends through Gut Hook, so now I have more than one friend in the area.
You guys were going to eat pie last time they came up. Did you guys ever do that?
Oh yeah, we've had pie a couple times. Actually, he made a pie last night. We just had pie last night for a mutual friend's birthday.
Oh, no kidding. What kind of pie?
Damn good strawberry rhubarb pie.
All right then. I never knew there was such a thing.
Strawberry rhubarb pie?
No.
Oh yeah.
No, good.
Strawberry and rhubarb go really, really well together.
I've never really been a fan for some reason. I know it's good, but it's one of those
A rhubarb or
that
combination.
exact pie. Strawberry rhubarb pie. I know it's popular. I know people like it, but it's just not.
Well, you haven't had Gut Hook strawberry rhubarb pie then.
Well, maybe we can make that happen at Trail Days this year.
Maybe we can. We're all going to be there.
We're going to try.
We should get him to drop that recipe in the chat.
For sure.
Good luck pinning him down.
Well, that was going to be my next thing too. Like you guys are, baking pies together all the time. Tell him to come on the show and say hi to us again.
I should do that.
A good time.
I should force him to do that. He's not the best at scheduling.
Yeah, I noticed that when we were. I think when we had him on the show, it took like 6 weeks of wrangling to get him for like an hour and a half.
He will say that he'll do something and then he'll forget that he's told me he's going to do it unless I put it. I think I haven't tried this yet, but I think I'm going to try putting it in his calendar, like iCal.
Oh,
I might start doing that.
Oh,
I don't know if that will work. But then the thing is, once you've got him scheduled to do something, he's going to be wicked early.
Okay. You just have to trick him into thinking it was his idea.
We did a hike a couple weekends ago where I brought in a friend of mine and he brought in some of his friends. So we had some people meeting each other for the first time, which was really, really great. But everyone or half the people were meeting at my place in the morning, and as usual, I was running a little bit late. And so I texted him 10 minutes before we're supposed to meet at my house. 10 minutes before. And so that's enough time for him to like he should be leaving his house at that time. I text him like, hey, just be a little bit late. Like, I know you're probably about to leave, but like be a little bit late. And he texts me, I'm already outside.
I knew
like,
it.
It's just so early.
Of course. I know someone else who's exactly like that. And her name is Katie.
Plum.
And she's in the other room making dinner, as a matter of fact. I can hear it happening
Be
right
that
now.
early. See, what's for dinner tonight, Gary?
Well, I requested tortellini with pesto and a small side salad, and I think that's probably going to happen.
The garden side salad?
Some spinach and tomatoes, probably. Maybe some chopped onion. I don't know. If only I had someone to chop vegetables for me while I recorded a podcast.
Daniel only lives like a couple hours away. Tell him to drive up to chop some veggies for you.
I think it's funny. No, we started with vegetables being chopped. We were ending with actual vegetables being chopped.
Lord.
I love what I'm hearing right now. This is great.
You like that?
Yeah, that'll work. that'll
It's all staying in.
Okay, so it's 8:30, so we're not going to get to the last question that's on the list. Actually, there's still a bunch of questions on the list. This thing is endless. So, next time we hang out and don't have a guest, we'll do this again. This is story time and it's fun. But I just kind of want to prepare you for what's coming on this list of questions for when we don't have a guest. And one of them is it's kind of put to us as a challenge, and it's we always have guests on and we ask them to tell us their embarrassing poop stories, and yet we have not shared our own embarrassing poop stories. So think about that for next time. What are we doing next time? I always love the part of the show where we're like, what are we doing next time?
Sharing poop
today,
stories?
Today, this is for all the people who are still hanging out on the chat today. I think as late as 4:30, we were all texting each other like, are we even doing a show today? Are we all still friends? What's going on here?
Said I'm in and then just ignored the group text. Other than checking in once and not understanding what was going on. So just sending a gif of a confused child.
Yeah. So I just thought it was fun. It's been a while since we've had the whole team together with it just being us. I think last time we ganged up on Clarity, and I was doing my best to keep quiet. So, it wasn't like this. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
I just want to say that I got to run, and as always, it has been a ton of fun, and I am working on a special guest for next week.
Ooh!
So don't you worry, it will be hopefully.
If it's who I think it is, we've had a lot of side conversations. We'll figure it out. Okay, we'll do that off the air. Thanks, man.
Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
Everybody, have a good night.
Oh, is it over now?
Is that it? Oh.
Stories from the Trail is a production of thetrek.co. Zach Davis, editor-in-chief. Each episode is recorded in front of a live internet audience. You can be part of that internet audience if you care to join us on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. There's a link in the show notes that tells you everything you need. Our music is by Lee Rosevere. Your hosts are Green Giant, Voldemort, and Reptar. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those places. Just look for Stories from the Trail. It's probably us. The show is recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Gary Sizer, in Blanket Fort Studios, which is just me in my basement with a blanket over my head. Thanks for listening.
A bear just got my pants. We gotta get out of here. and they're just like, what the fuck?